My name is Jonah Chinga. I work for the Gay and Lesbian Coalition of Kenya as the Assistant Executive Officer, and we're based in Nairobi, Kenya. LGBT people face human rights violations in Kenya because of the existence of this penal code. And so, because GALC is a membership organization, we reached out to our membership, and we had a conversation and consultations about their lived realities based on the fact that the penal code exists. And so we decided to move to court to declare these sections of the Kenya Penal Code, and further to seek clarification on what the penal code defines as gross indecency between two men. The petition was mentioned on the 19th of January, and since there were two petitions, they were consolidated. And so now the court has said that there will be a proper hearing towards the end of February. So we're looking forward to that, and we're hopeful that the outcomes will be positive. The stance of the general population on LGBTQ people in Kenya, it's 50-50. And also it depends on which context you are. I come from Nairobi, I live in Nairobi, and Nairobi is a very cosmopolitan place. So when you think about people's sexual orientation, so long as you're not rubbing it on people's faces, then, they're okay with it. But, most of our people in our communities don't live in the urban areas, they live in the rural areas. And this is where conservative and rigid perspectives about, sexual orientation and gender identity are very, sensitive. Therefore, there's a lot of crime, there's a lot of, physical abuse towards our people. So it depends on the context of where you are in the country. If we were successful with the decriminalization, I feel that it's upon us to continue creating the awareness and sensitizing our communities and even partners who do not understand, the human rights of LGBTQ people, and also people who, pose human rights violations, especially violence, physical violence towards LGBTQ people. We're going to be able to team up with the law, the policemen, to be able to, stop this violence towards LGBTQ people. And we're going to be able to work with the government in various departments to scale up the interventions for LGBTQ people in terms of health, in terms of, provision of services, name it, wherever, in which department. Yeah. Having a youth forum in a CHOGM context, for me, means a lot. One, it means that, there is need for youth to be represented in such spaces, and that our voice is heard, and that, governments are keen to know what youth want in the future, and if they want to, look at policies that are inclusive for youth and by youth, then that's, for me, it's very important. It also means that youth have the capacity and the skill to engage in such forums, and they want their issues to be visible. They have priorities, they have their asks, and in general, that their advocacy is being scaled to an international level, where they're able to meet with their local governments at these spaces and influence and come together and, be able to achieve their agenda, whichever this may be. For LGBTQ youth, it's an important space because then we're able to integrate our issues with issues of larger youth. So it's not just us living in an island, it's about us, collaborating with other youth to be able to speak about our issues and see how those other issues link with our issues and move the agenda forward and be part of a collective that's advocating for, larger perspective on human rights. TCEN is a perfect space for doing it because TCEN, has a specific focus on LGBTQ. If you put the youth component, then it means it's not just, the general LGBTQ community, but also focusing on its vulnerable, sort of component, which is the youth who are, stepping into these spaces. And also for me, it means, we always say that youth are the future. we're already participating in this space, and TCEN is giving us that opportunity. So this means that we are able to carry on with the good work that TCEN has begun and TCEN wants to continue. So as we look at activists doing their work, then it encourages us that it's time that we sharpen our skills and think about innovative ideas on how to engage in these spaces and with these people to be able to scale up LGBTQ advocacy.